What's up, Marines? I'm Andrew Candela.
And I'm Otto Espino.
Welcome to The Exchange. So today we have a special guest joining us, Mr. Alex Adams, who graduated from the class of 1985 and who now works for Northern Trust Wealth Management in South Florida. But before we get to that, Otto, how are your stocks doing?
So, it's been a bloodbath, not too pretty. Market's been taking a couple hits.
Yep.
My beautiful Ford has plummeted. I mean, they went from the height of 25 all the way down to 12. I mean, it was just terrible. I mean, I did hold quite a bit. I'm dollar cost averaging a little bit. But the main one that kind of offset that hit was Oxy. As you know, the energy sector has been absolutely, skyrocketing, especially with the, Russia and the issues there. Of course, the war in Ukraine, and also the bans on actually buying energy from Russia, oil, gas, all that other stuff. So Oxy has been absolutely soaring. I mean, I want to say it's around 65 right now at the time of this filming. And, I mean, it's great. I mean, I bought in, low 20s, bought a good chunk, and I'm sitting comfortably. So how about you?
I mean, my family's not doing so well, but I mean, I'm not gonna lie, I'm not doing that bad. I don't want to toot my own horn, but for the old first OG The Exchange fans, I said to buy SQQQ, which is an inverse NASDAQ ETF. So again, when the NASDAQ goes down, SQQQ flies up, and I said to buy at $9, and now it's at around $50. So I mean, I'm doing pretty well. Stay humble. That's what Kobe Bryant says. Sorry, RIP. But yeah, I mean, I'm doing pretty well. So nice. Okay, so thank you, Mr. Adams, for taking the time to be with us today.
So, Mr. Adams, your first job in banking was with Union in 1995, and you made the switch to Northern Trust. So, in these past 28 years, your career has been astronomical. First, he was the head of Key Biscayne, then the Brickell office, and now he's ultimately the head of South Florida Wealth Management, overseeing over 120 employees. Very impressive.
Yeah, I don't know how he does it. That's got to be so hard.
Yeah.
So let's get into it. When you made the switch to Northern Trust, they put you as a private banker, which was different to your commercial banking background. For the folks at home, what is the difference between private banking and commercial banking?
Yeah, first, good afternoon, Drew. Good afternoon, Otto. Thank you for having me on your show. And it's a good question. I started my career in a commercial banker training program with First Union National Bank in North Carolina, in Charlotte, North Carolina. And that was in 1990. In 1995, I made the switch to Northern Trust because I wanted to shift from the commercial banking world to the private banking / wealth management world. And basically, the key difference is your audience, who you're serving. In the commercial banking space, you're serving corporations for the most part, and you're handling their deposit, treasury management services, their lending needs for corporations of all sizes, for startup companies to middle market companies to large corporations. In the private banking world, you're dealing more with high net worth families and individuals, and I'd say that's your primary difference there. And in the private banking space, you're managing money for clients, you're lending clients money for acquisitions, whether it be residential real estate, planes, boats, all kinds of personal assets. And in addition to that, we also do some commercial banking for our wealth management private banking clients, to the extent that these clients own businesses, and they'll ask us to be engaged in that, in the lending or in the banking depository services for those companies. We'll get involved in that as well. But the main difference being, in the private banking world, we do commercial banking for our wealth management clients, as opposed to in the commercial banking world, we're primarily looking at the companies and the commercial banking activities in the vacuum for the most part.
Also, your title is President of the South Florida region for the Wealth Management business of Northern Trust. What does that exactly mean, and does every bank have wealth management?
Not necessarily. Some banks focus primarily only on the commercial banking piece. Others focus exclusively on the private banking piece. At Northern Trust, we do a little bit of both, with our primary focus being wealth management and private banking services. And as far as my South Florida title, so I run the South Florida region. We roll up into the East region. My boss sits in New York City, and South Florida is made up of Broward County, Dade County, Monroe. We have an office down in Ocean Reef, as well as the international Latin American business, which rolls up to me as well, given the proximity to Latin America and the amount of Latin American clients that we have here in South Florida.
So you mentioned inbound wealth in a Miami article today. Can you elaborate on exactly like what that is and how it affects South Florida?
So we see inbound wealth. It's a real positive thing for our industry here in South Florida. We are very fortunate to be in a situation where a lot of wealth is leaving other pockets of the country, like the Northeast, New York, Boston, in the Midwest, Illinois, out west, California, and a lot of this migration of inbound wealth. Most of these are wealthy families are coming down here to South Florida because we have a very favorable tax structure. There's no personal state income tax in the state of Florida. We have great weather, and we have a lot to offer just as a city with a lot of amenities, a lot of major league sport franchises, a lot of new museums, and it's really become a destination for people from other parts of the country to not just come visit and spend some time on South Beach vacationing, but really to relocate to and to call it home. But the inbound wealth really is there's two parts to it. That's the domestic side of it, but there's a huge inbound wealth that comes from overseas, primarily from Latin America. And as you can imagine, we have a lot of inbound wealth that comes from anywhere in Latin America, whether it be Colombia, Venezuela, from Central America, from Guatemala, from Honduras, and from Mexico, and also from Europe as well. So right now, South Florida is a really good spot, really benefiting from this inbound wealth migration.
All right. So the next question is, how competitive is the banking industry? And what is your advice to any Belen student that is thinking of pursuing it?
So the banking industry is extremely competitive. I guess we'll look at it from 2 points of view. One is from the ability to go out and capture new clients, or were you asking me more so for someone that wants to enter the field?
Well, for someone trying to enter in, yeah.
Okay. So, well, I'll address the first one in any event. But this is an extremely competitive environment, and right now there's what we're calling a war on talent. There's a lot of competition for our bankers, for bankers in general. So it's a really great time for someone that's coming out of college who would like to start a career in financial services, because there's a lot more open jobs than there are candidates to fill those jobs at the moment. But my number one piece of advice would be to start early. In the summers, try and do internships. And most importantly, the summer where you're rising seniors between your junior and senior year, I think that's the key summer where you want to try and, if you think you are going to go into financial services, try and secure a good internship with a solid bank, financial institution of any sort. And that should be a catalyst to starting your career in banking upon your graduation.
Have you seen an increase in business because of all the people, migrating from northern states, whether it's New York, Illinois, Massachusetts? Has something kind of to do with the inbound wealth? But have you seen an increase? Yeah.
Absolutely, for sure. What ends up happening is when people move here, they don't automatically switch all their financial services from their former bank to their current bank. But over time, what ends up happening, I find, is that little by little, they'll find local doctors, local accountants, local attorneys to work with, and eventually they will, in fact, start working with a local financial institution, and then gradually you'll start to see a lot of their investment management services, their banking services migrate from wherever it was that they were being served in their prior home state, to the new financial institution they're working with in South Florida.
Got it. Okay, this one. So lastly, you have two sons that graduated from Belen, Alex in 2014, and Belen lacrosse legend Mark Adams in 2021. I know you graduated from Belen also, so how has Belen impacted you and your family?
Yeah, so listen, Belen's extremely important to me. Not only did I graduate from there, but as you just said, I sent both of my sons to school there, and I served on the board for nearly 14 years. I actually chaired the advisory board for Belen for about 6-7 years. I termed out, unfortunately, but I still serve on the finance committee for the school. And I think it's without a doubt, Belen's a real important part to me personally, from not just from what I learned there academically, but spiritually from the growth and from what I learned, and from the lifetime friendships and bonds that I created with many of my classmates during the time that I was at Belen. You mentioned Mark, who had a good career in lacrosse, but what you may not know is that Alex Jr. was one of the first classes that actually played lacrosse.
That's right. That's right, with my brother. Yeah.
Yep, that's right. They were the pioneers that paved the way for you guys to be able to have some pretty strong teams. And congratulations on this past season. I know you had a really good season, and I think you won your district, if I'm not mistaken. Right?
Yes, thank you. I appreciate it. Yes, we did.
Great.
All right, well, I guess time to wrap up.
That's all, folks.
All right, in the wise words of Warren Buffett, the first rule of trading is to never lose money, and the second rule is to never forget rule number 1.
So thank you for your time, Mr. Adams, and thank you for watching The Exchange, and stay tuned for the next episode.
Great. Thank you, guys. Appreciate it. Good luck.
Thank you.
Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.